Welcome into What's Up Belly Up episode 5. I'm your host, Mike Brown. ZachMac here with me. We got a great slate of topics like usual. Zach, how you doing tonight, big guy?
Yeah, man. Happy New Year. First week 18 of our lives is upon us. It's a good time.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun show. I'm excited.
So how do you feel to this point, your new year? What are we, 6 days in, 6? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How's it been so far? Because I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my new year.
Yeah. Before you get into yours, I made no resolutions this year, so I'm doing great, actually. Fantastic.
Probably smart.
Yeah, made some resolutions last year, and I don't think I completed a single one of them. So we're gonna bat 1,000 this year by making no resolutions and doing no resolutions. What's new in your year?
Well, 3 things. One, obviously, we talked about last episode. That was right before the new year. I about cut my finger off. We're feeling a little better now. No bandage, but still numbness, tingling. Can't feel my finger. Today, we pushed the start back a little bit because I had the old dentist appointment. First dentist appointment a little bit. When I say a little bit, about 15 years. Let me tell you, I take care of my teeth. I just haven't gone to the dentist. So
Bro, I'm not judging. I take shit care of my teeth. I never go.
So I knew I was having some tooth pain. So I said, man, I got to take care of this. So went in consultation. Doctor said, hey, man, your teeth actually look pretty good. He's like, but I probably got to put a crown on the back one. I said, all right, cool. So he's like signing me up. He's like, all right, we can get you back in, blah, blah. So I was like getting ready to leave, and she come in. She's like, honestly, to tell you the truth, I can clear my schedule. She's like, I'm pretty well booked for the next month. She's like, I can get you in now. So yeah, knocked it out. Got 2 crowns today. Now we're getting off the numb train. That's why we pushed it back a little bit. I text Zach, so we're gonna push it back a little bit. I'm not drilling on myself. But worst part, about 2-3 nights ago, Tuesday night. It hasn't been very cold in Ohio. I mean,
it gets worse. You lost a finger and a tooth, and it gets worse.
Yeah, This is, like I said, I've got a whole 300 days to go yet in the year. So, it hasn't been that cold in Ohio, and we got a wood burning fireplace, a nice fireplace. Our house is 6 years old. We built it. Haven't had any issues, and I'm thinking, we just got the chimney cleaned not too long ago, so let's fire her up. So I had the wood burner going for about a couple hours. My wife came home with some Happy Meals for the kids, and the little boxes the Happy Meals go in. Like, I didn't want to throw them in the trash. I didn't want to throw them out in the garage. We usually throw the cardboard out in the garage and I burn it. I just didn't want it piling up, so I just tossed one in the fire and closed it. And like, my wife's like, "What's that noise?" And she's like, "Is that a motorcycle?" And I looked at her like, seriously, like, we're in the middle of winter. Like, no, there's not like a motorcycle gang like rolling by our house. And like, we did. It sounded like a jet engine. So I'm like, man, I'm going to go outside. What's going on? And lo and behold, I go outside, look on the road, nothing. I turn around and look at my house, and it looks like there's a sparkler coming from my chimney. Like,
dude, I saw this on Twitter. Dude, Adriana, can you get this? Throw this on the
full on sparkler. A fireball shot up through my roof, and this thing was going crazy. Like, it's just kind of hard to see. Here's the front. The top left right there's my chimney, and that is full on. A fireball went up my chimney. I must have had some creosote in there, and
that's on fire, dude.
So yeah, there was a fireball, and so I called my buddies on the fire department. I said, what's going on? And I post this on Twitter, on Facebook, and probably shouldn't have, because people obviously thought my house was on fire when it wasn't, but very well could have been. So,
dude, I saw this up here. For those on the podcast,
there you go.
Go check out our video, because we're showing a video right now. I thought this was a UFO, and they were like beaming down, abducting you.
Just pulling us out of the chimney.
And you're like, your chairs are upside down right here. What's going on with that? Like, I was like, this doesn't look right.
The winds, we had some horrible winds, so I flipped them upside down. So yes, that is literally outside, and I'm watching my house burn down, and yes, no. But either way, 6 days in, a lot going on. I can only imagine what the rest of the year has to hold. But yeah, other than that, I didn't make any resolutions, although I didn't make a resolution, but I really do want to get in the gym, but I am purposely not getting in the gym until like February, because you're going to essentially beat that. Pass that crowd that January 1st, that resolution. So, but anyway,
you get 1 month off for every chimney that you burn too. So
yeah, something like that. So here we are, back, episode 5. Glad we're able to talk about it. I'm able to sit in the home studio like Zach, and I noticed behind you, Zach, you should have some big things kind of coming. I see some boxes behind you, things packed up. A little change of scenery, or
yeah, we got boxes back here. We got a bunch of stuff piled up. The rest of the place looks like a mess. It's boring in here. Everything's off the walls. But yeah, 20 days. We're moving down to Tampa. We found this. I don't know if you can see it behind me. This half finished painting that my girlfriend was doing, and while we were packing, we found it, and I was like, that is legit. She's like, it's not finished. I said, it not being finished is the coolest part about it. Like, you still know what it is. And so I was like, I'm putting that behind me. Yeah.
It's like a tattoo or something going on. But so yeah, going to Tampa, we can just get right into it. Tampa, AB is no longer there. I figured you're just going to slide in for him. Obviously, like I said, getting right into it, we'll just kick it right off with Antonio Brown. If you've been living under a rock, you don't know what's going on. Antonio Brown walked out on his team. At 1 minute, he walked out on his team. The other minute, he was talked down to by his coach, and he just said enough of this. The next minute, he was asking for $2 million incentives earlier. But yeah, here's a video. Most people have seen it by now. But either way, I guess if you're playing the Jets, it doesn't really matter. But since then, he's been cut or released. But lot of
he's a lefty.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now. And I was going to tell you to get the producer on to. Did you ever see his player picture for the Chippewas?
No, I don't think I have.
Dude, he's like shit clean. I mean, he's like buzzed hair, and on the bottom, he's got a gold grill, and he's smiling like this. And like it's great, but yeah. So you're going to Tampa, huh? Yeah, AB's out, ZachMac's in. So, but what do you think about that? There's a lot of chatter going back and forth between him. He's the type of person that you don't want to cross because he's crazy, and you're seeing that he's literally airing like conversations, text messages, content, stuff like that. I mean, I'll be surprised if he ever plays again, but this could be very detrimental to Bruce Arians and the rest of those guys. Oh yes, isn't that great? And then JJ Watt next to him.
That is hilarious.
Oh, but yeah,
yeah, man. Antonio Brown. I mean, I put it on Twitter. I wrote that article. 3
years ago, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 3.5 years ago. Something crazy. Yeah. Honestly, looking back on it, I feel bad for writing it. I didn't know that he was going to trend the way he's trending now. Just with thing after thing. But it was a satire piece by him and CTE, but this is I'll be honest. I'm on AB's side on this one. I don't know if you saw the statements that came out. I think they were this morning. Well, Antonio Brown's came out either yesterday or the day before, and then the Bucs came out with a statement today. And I don't know, AB coming forward first. His description was a lot more detailed of the events that went on, and the Bucs kind of just sat back and just waited for him to put out a statement, and then just kind of attacked what they wanted to attack in the statement.
Yeah.
So to me, the Bucs look a little fishy here. I don't know. It's going to play out, but it's just unfortunate to see. Whether it was mental health issues or people taking advantage of his image and trying to portray mental health issues on him when he really was screwed over, that would be a terrible case as well. I just think it's a lose-lose situation,
That was exactly what I was going to say. Whether it was CT removed, it was kind of like, the second coming of AB. He still showed he had a lot in the tank. He's with Tom Brady. He had a lot to be thankful for with Tom Brady. He said that. You wish him the best, and then instantly this happens, and you're like, oh, it's got to be CTE. Like, but then you're like kind of getting down into it, and you're like, oh, I don't know, like something's going on here. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires the rest of the way out. But hope for the best for him. Honestly, as much as we joke around and have fun, but either way, you want to see what's best for him. But yeah, that's kind of where the news was this week. But moving on, we got some real football to be played, even though Tampa Bay are still very much in the thick of things. We got the Titans take the AFC lead from the Chiefs, which I don't know necessarily anybody thought this could happen, especially with Derrick Henry going down when he did. They didn't have A.J. Brown for the longest time. Julio Jones has been, nothing for them. We'll talk a little about Packers, Ravens, stuff like that. But did you think? I feel like the Titans are still playing very well. Like, did you think? And there's very, very real chance that Derrick Henry can come back for the playoff run. It looked like he's trending that way. So they're only going to get better. So did you think this could happen, especially with? I felt like the Chiefs should have just ran away with it. Yeah, no, this feels very much under the radar. To me, I feel like, with the Chiefs, it's tough because like the Chiefs struggled at the beginning of the year, right? And then they went on that 8-game win streak. And then, Tennessee takes the AFC 1 seed, which is important now because only the 1 seed gets a bye. So, oh yeah, absolutely. So, I feel like it's under the radar. When Henry went down, I think I kind of, I never counted Tennessee out. I was always like, they're going to be a playoff team, but I never was like, they could take the 1 seed. So, and I live in Tennessee. So like there's absolutely, I feel like I say this every 2 episodes, but nobody in Memphis cares about the Titans at all. So it's like, but no, to answer your question, I didn't expect it. But it also doesn't surprise me. I think Mike Vrabel is like that dude. Like he is. Oh, like, I love it. He just a swag. I think Dan Campbell could very much be like that. He's a poor man's Mike Vrabel. I feel like Mike Vrabel is Dan Campbell on steroids. Yes, but there's a lot to be said. We don't want to put them in the same breath. Maybe we're hoping, but again, that goes back to our Detroit ties. But so. If you've been with us since episode 1, Zach and I both very much had a team that we were like not rooting against, but just kind of like we didn't want to see them just ride into the sunset. But we kind of knew that they would. Mine was the Packers, obviously the state of top of the NFC and the entire NFL at this point. And they play our beloved Lions this week, which the only good thing about that is at this point, I don't care about the draft picks. There's no home run, I feel like, in the draft, especially for what we need. No quarterback. So, this may play into our benefit. No Aaron Rodgers. They should pretty much rest everybody. So they're just kind of going to float into the playoffs. So for the Lions, yeah, it'd be nice. Most people fantasy-wise don't really care about this week. But overall, we talk about it. Is there any surprise that the Packers are where they are right now? It's funny because well, first off, I see that comment up there. What's up, Beth? Thanks for hanging out. This was never the plan to keep track of these teams, but they irked us. They pissed us off so much from episode 1 that we kind of have been just like following their path. But you're right. The Packers the Packers are in, right? I don't know if they have I don't think they have the 1 seed locked up, but I don't think they have the number 1 like they're. But really, the only way that the Lions get the number 1 pick is if the Jaguars win. Oh, you're saying the Lions. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. Well, no, I was talking about the Packers at first. I'm sorry. Okay. But sorry, back. But yeah, so the Lions are pretty much their top 2 pick now. If we get lucky and we get the first pick, it's because the Jags win Week 18, which is not going to happen. So, and then even if the Jags lose and we win, we still get the second pick. So, maybe that would be cool to be like the shit season we've had, like results wise and record wise, and the great season that the Packers have had, even though they went through all the shit in the preseason. It would be awesome to be like, yeah, we're 1-0 in Week 18, and you're 0-1 all time in Week 18. Yes, so, that's very yes. That is a true Lions fan thinking about things like, how can we be better than anybody else? Dan, well, you said 1 season locked. There we go. So, yes, Dan right there, MD Fantasy Show. You want real fantasy news, real football news right there. We just talk about sports. We kind of go back and forth, but yes, right there's a good show. Dude, I love that show. I tune into that show as often as I can, dude. He's awesome. But no, absolutely. You find just, like we're Ryan. Oh, Ryan. Yep. There's the beloved Jets fan. For those listening to a podcast version, obviously we are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook right now. So we get some comments coming in. We're throwing some comments up. But it's awesome to see people jump in. Zach, you basically ruined the Ravens in episode 1. You want to kind of go through that and kind of explain to the people at home?
Yeah, man. That was funny to me because I said in episode 1, I clipped it even. We put it on Twitter. I said, these are the biggest pretenders ever. And yeah, we talked about them having injuries and whatnot, but and they've just looked, and granted, they've had more injuries since I said that. So, it is what it is, but still, I buried them. I said they were the biggest pretenders ever, and now they're struggling to get into the playoffs. So I said that they were going to lose the first playoff game that they had, and now they might not even get one, which it's just nice to see. I don't like I said, I'm upset because they hit a 66-yard field goal, and I won't let it go, and that's on me, and I understand that, but I don't have to let it go. Okay.
Which, like you said, we kind of alluded to. Lions, it sounds like, they'll be locked in at a top 2 draft pick, probably number 2. They're also going to have the Rams pick later in the first round. I've seen a lot of different things. There's a lot of defensive ends, cornerbacks, and a lot of linemen this year. Granted, we could, use defensive end. We could use some corners, but I feel like our cornerbacks, by no standards, great corners, but I feel like what we've thrown out there, a lot of these guys are like, special team players. So they're fighting for their lives. And a lot of them, I think, have been pretty decent, at least for the most part, for the Lions. So, yeah, granted, there's always the opportunity to upgrade. You're not going to get a quarterback in this draft, at least a day 1 starter. So there's no point in wasting that pick. There's nobody going to be up there. I think Oregon's defensive end, well, I guess depending on what the Jags, but he's essentially going to be your first to go. Matt Carroll, I believe Coral is that starting quarterback. I think he's going to need groomed, but you're not talking the first round talent. So do you have anybody maybe on your radar? I've seen a lot of people say maybe we should just trade back or just kind of do something, later in the first round, because there's really for what we need. I saw some mocks at a linebacker. I feel like number 2, this is like the worst year to have number 1, probably the top 5 pick.
Yeah, I'm no draft expert. And to be honest, the Lions situation is not one where one guy's going to, solve.
Yes, exactly.
We just traded away Stafford, who, I would take him over. I feel like, I wouldn't necessarily say I would take him over a number 2 pick, but still, the point is, if all we needed was one guy, we probably wouldn't have got rid of Stafford. So we've got Okudah, who didn't play this year. He's, obviously hyped. Don't know how great he's going to be. I feel like we need a pass rush. I don't really know, dude. I don't know. Like I said, one guy's not going to fix our issues. I think we've got a long way to go. I like the way St. Brown's playing, obviously. 5 straight games with 8+ receptions. That's cool. I'm just not expecting even if we do like an A+ draft, that we go 11 and what would it be? 11-6 now. Yeah, so I don't think we're like 11-6, even if we get an A+ draft, unless like a lot of other things go right. So
you're talking like free agency and stuff like that.
Or other teams struggling.
Okudah, there was a lot of hype around him. He graded out really well. First year he's banged up a little bit, took him back to get in there. So essentially he really hasn't had a full season, because then this year he tore his Achilles. So it's hard to believe going into his 3rd season he's just outside of his rookie year, because he hasn't even actually played a full 17-game season, let alone 18 games. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that transpires. But speaking of Okudah, kind of getting into and actually we didn't have this on here before speaking of Okudah real quick. I do want to have your take quick, because I've always mentioned this, that I've always been a Baker guy. I've always been a Browns guy, kind of bandwagon following them. With him, news of him, the torn labrum, obviously he's having surgery. He's going to be ready for camp. There's no guarantee based off his contract and stuff like that. What do you think? I mean, obviously everybody's talking about this, but what if you're the Browns and you're weighing your season and that roster, what you have, is Baker the quarterback that you're still committed to, or are you trying to find somebody, because we've already talked about in the draft, you're not going to find somebody that's going to be better than him this year. Maybe you make a trade. I don't know, their cap and stuff like that. I haven't checked, but I mean, is he a guy that you're committed to? Are you trying to do like a team friendly deal? Are you just saying, franchise? I mean, I don't know, because franchise, that's big money for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But
I think,
is he your guy?
I mean, at this moment in time, I'm going to say no, because he's got this injury and he's got to go through rehab. And so if I'm the Browns and I'm looking at the talent that we have on the roster, I'm thinking, like, I'm not committing to Baker, honestly. Like, I think I'm going to go try to, get, like you said, if you get lucky with a trade, or if you get I think there's plenty of teams that have backups that would be better than how Baker was playing when he was injured.
Right there. That comment right there, Trey Lance. Yep, right there. Backup.
You want to take Trey Lance off?
What you're talking, but you don't even know. I mean, what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo too? So that comment was, yeah, you want to take Trey Lance off my hands because he's a San Francisco fan. But it's kind of the same situation. But let me ask you this on the flip side, and then we'll move on. If you're a Lions fan and you have the opportunity to get Baker cheap, something with Goff, would you take Baker to the Lions?
Ooh, that's tough. I would have to think about that. I don't love Jared Goff, but also feel like, I mean, he obviously wasn't presented with the most desirable situations in Detroit. Still came in with a good attitude though. But talent wise, I don't know. I honestly, I'd have to think about that. I don't know if I would take Baker over Jared Goff.
I mean, it would have to be, because even with that trade, Stafford and Goff, there was a lot of salary, both guys. We took on a lot of cap. I was going to say, we took on a lot of cap for Goff, a lot more than he's probably worth. But yes, they said, hey, we're not in any hurry. We're going to let it happen. Just kind of play it. Hopefully we get somebody in here. Hey, but the thing is, outside of the last year in with the Rams, it's hard to believe he was a Super Bowl quarterback. Granted, a totally different system, totally different team, way, way better. But yes, obviously you can tell him being on the Lions, which actually the Lions, this year they graded out, I think, 14th offensive line after the long run. They had a lot of injuries. Still, Goff looked like he was pissing his pants every time he took a snap. But
I think Goff is like, he's one of those quarterbacks that can excel if the offense is like orchestrated correctly. Or if it's like, I don't know what the technical football phrases are.
He's not going to make things happen himself.
Right, he's not going to step in and change
all the plays have to be crisp.
Right,
yes,
right. But if the strategy is there and it's right for him, he could be a serviceable quarterback that can take you on a run. I mean, obviously he's done it. They put up 3 points in the Super Bowl, but still got there. Yeah, no
big deal. But anyway, switching gears into the NCAA. Got Ohio State, Michigan State. They both won their bowl games. I know, Zach, I was at the bar. I was texting you about that. That game, that was honestly, to me, I mean, I loved the Ohio State game. Loved watching that, obviously, what happened. Exciting. But I feel like that Michigan State game was like I felt like they dead in the water. They had no chance, and all of a sudden they just made like one of the greatest comebacks. And I was texting you, and I know you were nervous about it, even though you didn't pick Michigan State. So I got one there. But what'd you think about that game? Would you compare? I mean, obviously I'm Ohio State homer, but would you compare those two games and say, one of those two games so far have been the best bowl game so far, or am I just kind of throwing that out there?
Well, I think the Ohio State Utah game definitely is like in the conversation for best bowl game that we've seen this year. That game was just offense, and Utah going out to 2 scores, which I didn't expect. I know I picked Utah in the game, but you're right. Both of our teams won, and both of them did it in comeback fashion. Michigan State shocked me a little bit. I thought the way, I can't remember if it was a fumble or interception. I think it was an interception that ended it. But the Ohio State game didn't shock me as much because I kind of it didn't matter. Even every time Utah went up 2 scores, I was like, this is like Utah's not going to win by 2 or 3 scores. Like Ohio State's going to make sure that at the very least this game comes down to the final drive. at the very, even if they don't win it, it'll come down to the final drive. And
yes.
So
it was exciting. And no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just done. I was just like that. I wanted to know how did you watch? Because you were texting me during the Michigan State game, but I didn't hear from you during the Ohio State game.
Ohio State game, I hid my phone because I thought it was done and over. I didn't want to chuck
Really?
it. But no, I mean, yes, I loved it. I mean, I figured Ohio State in all the big games as of recently, they always go down to start. They're usually down 2 touchdowns, but they have the offenses come back. But Utah, I mean, literally, Ohio State's defense was miserable. And then during the game, I don't know if you caught this, one of their players that actually sat out that game was like the starting nickel corner that kind of played here and there. Just went on a tangent about how bad Ohio State, kind of like what Pope did a couple months ago, linebacker, but just trashing Ohio State and going on and on. But so I was more enamored in the Twitter battle, him blasting Urban and stuff like that, which I said there's got to be like a 30 for 30 coming out on Urban Meyer eventually, or a Netflix like documentary. Like there's got to be something in that.
What'll be first, Urban Meyer or Antonio Brown?
I don't know. I mean, either way, I mean, they already had Hard Knocks and Antonio Brown was on there. I mean, but either way, I mean, and then not to get too far off is I saw Brooks Koepka, or how you pronounce his name? Brooks.
You talking about the golfer Koepka?
Golfer Koepka. Yes, I was a Koepka. Yeah, he's the one that actually he brought up about the only thing that we need in 2022 is AB versus Jake Paul. That'll be the next boxing match, and I'm just waiting for that to happen, But no, I do want to get to Kevin again. If you guys are tuning in our podcast, we are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. But we also have the comments here going. We throw up some comments and kind of check out the questions. Kevin, he's no stranger to Alabama football. Graduated from Alabama. Talking about the Cotton Bowl, we were talking about some of the greatest games or the good games this year so far. I saw a thing in. I don't know if Kevin tweeted it or maybe I'm sure it was part of their Gump Twitter, which is an Alabama thing. But it was funny because it said if Alabama wins this year, it's just another year. But if Georgia wins this year, it's like I don't know. It's like
fan base gets worse or something like that.
Yeah, essentially like okay, you're talking about the SEC essentially shit the bed as far as the bowl records, but you're talking about it's an SEC championship game, so that kind of outweighs itself. But it's just funny because I read something today which I didn't get it. I read it right when I was at the doctor's office leaving. It was something about Ryan Day saying that his offense would have been able to put up points on the 2 championship teams, and that the only reason those teams are in there is because it was a money driven thing. I don't know if it was real or whatever, but either way, so yeah, there you go. What Kevin excuse me, what Kevin was an Auburn fan. So that makes sense. Yes. It was an Auburn fan that posted that. So which he's saying is we need to be more obnoxious. So but either way, so it's just one of those things. The fan base is Big Ten, SEC, all those.
See, I don't think that Alabama fans need to be more obnoxious. Okay. Let me say it. Please don't let that happen. But we're all just numb to it at this point. Alabama has been so good for so long that at first it was obnoxious. Like I lived in Atlanta and there was Alabama fans everywhere, right? They were obnoxious. They drove me nuts. But now it's to the point where I'm like, that's just who they are. Like, and I get it. Y'all win a lot. I would be happy if I won a lot too. Like I feel like that's how I was when I was a kid and the Red Wings were winning all the time. But
yeah, which actually I saw another tweet that had since Vince Young in Texas won, Alabama has pretty much been the dynamite, the juggernaut to the point where football, like prior to that point, college football was fun. Now it is miserable. Nobody likes watching it because Alabama is so dominant.
Yeah, that's what I also wanted to say that because this is a rematch and it's cool, right? Like fans of Georgia, fans of Alabama, their heads are gonna get big and they'll be like, yeah, this is awesome. It's like everybody knew it. And because like I guarantee you, nobody north of Kentucky cares about this game. None. Nobody. I know a bunch of fans. Like, obviously, you're in Ohio. I'm from Michigan. Talk to these people, and they're like, I'm not watching the game. Like, because we knew all along it was going to be Georgia. And then, of course, who was Georgia matched up with? Alabama. And I get it. SEC people are going to love that. They're going to pump their chest out and be like, yeah, we're the best. We play best football. But as far as, like, nationwide, it's not good for football. We need more parity.
Yeah, I agree. But it's kind of like when the Patriots were winning, which the Patriots are your team. And we've got it's funny how we have an Alabama fan, and then his pro team is the Patriots. It's like literally the two fan bases. But I will say, well, actually, I guess speaking of Kevin again, he does have ties to both because he did go to Alabama and lives in the New England area. So yes, but yeah, we talked about transfer portals, Kevin. Again, we're talking about some comments here that just ruined college football. But anyways. So, like I said, Matt Corral, Ole Miss injured in the bowl games as a top draft prospect. Thoughts on the guys opting in and out? Are people too hard on these guys? Should they be able to do what they want? What do you think? Because I got a very strong opinion, as well as I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I do have a very strong opinion, but I want you to go first on this one because I usually go first. I want to hear what your opinion is.
Oh no, absolutely. I think these guys, and it was coming from an Ohio State fan. Yeah, it sucked not having Wilson.
Pulling the old Colin Coward out. People watch Dynasty.
But it sucked not having Wilson. It sucked not having Olave. It sucked not having our players. But these guys are one injury away from career-changing money. And granted, you go to the NFL, you're going to make good money. But there's a lot of things. So absolutely, these guys until this past season, the NCAA did not care about individual athletes, did not care about any of these kids. They couldn't, nothing with their name, likeliness, nothing like that. So now you see the NIL, these guys are making a little money. Good for them. But absolutely, these guys, if they're the potential number one pick and they want to set it up, which I would assume a lot of these guys would probably play in the national championship, but other bowl games, not so much. But even if they set out the national championship, good for them. I would hope that the team looks at them and says, I definitely understand it, because I feel like the pressure put on these guys. And I saw the big thing about, Desmond Howard and Herb Street were talking about, like, football players are soft now. These kids are soft. I get it. The time was totally different. But you're also talking when Herb Street and Howard were playing, a couple $100,000. You're talking a couple, like it wasn't as big. Now you're talking multi-million dollars. These guys don't sign the contracts that baseball players do, for $300 million. And the rookie contracts are a lot smaller than they used to be. Granted, you're going to be a millionaire. But absolutely good for them if they want to sit out, protect themselves. Good for them. They deserve that.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think if they want to opt out, that's their choice. I think people are being way too hard, and even if people are opting in, like the Matt Corral situation, right? He opts in, he plays, he wants to play with his teammates, he gets hurt, even though he's a top quarterback prospect. Maybe he didn't want to play for the shitty teams in the NFL, and that was his plan the whole time. I don't know, but point is, like, if that's his choice to go out and play with his teammates, like, there's too much in the world today of people trying to dictate how other people should act in their lives. Like, just if you would opt out, good for you. But he's not you. So if he wants to go opt in, respect his decision to go opt in. Like, that's what I think.
A good point was made. Like I said. Yeah, I was just saying a good point is made about the NIL. Now, like I said, now they can make money. We'll take Bryce Young, for example. A lot of those guys in college, that's where they're going to make those money. Once they leave college, they don't have those deals.
And an add-on question here is, will there be incentives to NIL deals? Like, you get an extra X amount of dollars if you play in the bowl game, if you get X amount of stats in the bowl game, if you score X amount of touchdowns in a bowl game, but yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? But, like, if you get to a bowl game, you win a bowl game, will there be incentives in the NIL deal? And, of course, that's going to make people opt in more, especially if
obviously this is all – yep.
Yeah,
no, go ahead. I was just saying,
if the incentive is comparable to a difference in what Kevin said here, pick 15 and 20, then, yeah, of course you're going to opt in. Like,
And it's still very new. It's very raw. Obviously, this is the first year, and I think, nobody knew. I mean, who was it? I mean, it was the Auburn's quarterback. Well, the transfer, I can't say his name because Kevin's still watching right now, but I think he got like a lemonade or a sweet tea deal that was over like $1 million of a company I've never even heard of. Like you talked about we talked about Barstool Sports, being one of the bigger ones, and then all of a sudden these people are coming out of the woodwork like, okay, we can pay these athletes for likeliness. They can really do some branding and really make us some money. So yeah, you're going to get that, but wouldn't you think? Yes, Milo's, which maybe that must be a Southern thing because I've never heard of that. Milo.
Bro, companies are going to jump all over that. Yeah. I mean, even if you
got,
that's what I'm saying. So, like, an athlete can take your business from here to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, wouldn't you think though? I mean, like with that being said too, like college, like okay, you create that college relationship when that athlete goes to the pros.
Look at
yeah,
Cavs already addicted to it.
Renegotiate
already.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're gonna renegotiate a deal, but with that relationship, wouldn't you think that would translate to the NFL? Like, I mean, they're still gonna want to work with you, for the most part. So, whatever. But
that's all about anyway, your foot in the door is. Milo's got their foot in the door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And now, if as long as they do their job correctly, they've got him probably forever. They'll just renew that contract as much as they can.
Oh yeah, so absolutely. So we'll get into obviously.
Can we talk about this real quick?
Last week.
Because I like this.
You have to obviously read it out because for podcasts.
Yeah. Ryan in the comments. We need to treat the NFL like the soccer clubs in Europe. Promote the winner of the CFP, try and relegate Jacksonville. Okay. I love the idea of this. I wanted to bring this up because I love the promotion relegation. I think it adds another, like, obviously we're not going to promote college teams into the NFL. That makes no sense. But
yeah, if we
could integrate relegation and promotion into U.S. sports, fans would get 10 times nuttier. 10 times nuttier. I don't know how we do it. We don't have enough leagues, but anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. We can move on now.
Look at that hits close to home about the Eastern Michigan alums offering Caleb Williams $1 million NIL deal to if he can go there, because his family did come out and say that he's just in the portal. He doesn't know where he's going to go. He just wants to go somewhere that's going to make him the best prospect. So, but anyways, moving on, get into the bowl picks. Zach jumped me. He's 20-17. I'm 18-19. Really, the only thing I can do is sit at 500, and Zach's got it from here. So I pissed on my leg in the heart of things. I felt like I had some good picks. Like I said, we talked about. I hit on Ohio State. I hit on Michigan State. Zach wasn't on those, but he got them around me. So Zach, obviously we got. I mean, obviously the only game that's left is Alabama, Georgia. You got number 1 versus number 3. As of right now, it's 3-point spread. 52 is the over/under. Which, speaking of which, how about that? Like I said, that Ohio State game, that over/under could have hit in the first quarter. But anyways, Alabama, Georgia. Like I said, bowl records. I'm at 18-19. You're at 20-17. No coming back for me, unless we want to do like a 5-point bonus point right here.
Dude, we should. Let's put well, we're going by just record here. So we'll just go we'll just say, well, who are you picking? If we're picking different teams, then maybe I'll just pick whoever you don't pick on purpose. And we'll do
I was actually just gonna say I'm gonna let you go and I'll just pick against you.
Oh God. See, now
point, honestly, I don't think this is what Saban does. Saban's primed for this spotlight. He's got. I don't give it. Bryce Young, rookie, freshman or not. Last time I watched Georgia's quarterback, he just looked so lost. He looked miserable. He had no clue. Even with the time to game plan, I just don't think they match up with Alabama. I just don't think. I even said in the Michigan Alabama game, I said Michigan Georgia game. I said the way that they're going to be dominant, or Jesus, I'm all over the place. Is that they need to control? They need to control the ball. Control the line of scrimmage, run the ball, which whatever. And then I said, okay, you got to make Alabama run the ball. Well, they did that obviously, so they can adapt. Obviously, coaching is the biggest thing. I can't. As much as it pains me, my sister's now at Alabama. I can't root against Alabama. I think it's definitely Alabama's game to win. And you can lock it up here. Don't root against me just to root against me. But if you think Alabama's going to take it, take it.
Dude, I was kind of leaning towards Georgia anyway, so that makes it easier. I think you're right. It's so tough to go against Nick Saban because, like, I honestly think Georgia has to go down in the game, like, early, and almost to the point where See, the odds are even like Saban's not going to get comfortable with a lead. He knows better. He's just such a good coach. He's not going to get. But maybe you get lucky. Maybe on this day, Saban will woke up on the wrong side of the bed and he goes up 10-0 early and takes his foot off the gas pedal. Just maybe, because I feel like even if Georgia goes up 14-0, 14-3, something like that early, like Alabama can score so fast in the second half. Like I think they did it to Georgia the first time they played. So
yes.
Like I think like I literally think Georgia has to make Alabama feel comfortable in the game as opposed to feeling aggressive in the game. Because if Alabama plays aggressive for the whole game, which they can't do, they're going to win. But I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to tell you right now. It's Bryce Young, Stetson Bennett. It's versus each other right there. Bryce Young, true freshman, Heisman winner. Bryce Young, even though like him and Stroud, pretty much apples for apples, were pretty much on par. Which, granted, they played in the SEC championship, Ohio State playing the Big Ten championship, so that really hurt them. But Stetson Bennett, I just don't think I don't know how Georgia. I didn't watch any Georgia games this year outside of the big ones. I just don't. I'm sorry. I thought Bryce. There we go. I got corrected. I'm good with that. For some reason, I thought he was a freshman. I don't know why. But anyways, Stetson Bennett just doesn't do it for me. Like I said, last time I watched him, like he was just like so out of sync, so clueless. There's nothing where Bryce Young can lead a team, can make things happen. Stetson Bennett has kind of like this is a bad comparison, but kind of like Jared Goff. Like the game plan has to be perfect for him to win.
No, I see it. Yeah, because they rely heavily on their defense first of all, and their running game, but their defense is so good that they get good field position. I think I saw that they have they're in the top 5. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 exactly, but they start some of the best field position all year on average. So I could definitely see how, he's just, cause I get the same feeling. I don't think Stetson Bennett's all that. I'm gonna be honest with you too. I'm not going to watch this game. I probably won't watch this game. I don't think I have any reason to watch this game. I've seen this game already. It happened a few weeks ago.
I don't think like I said, I don't think there's gonna be much difference. When you play a team like Alabama this close together, I think you've got the better quarterback and obviously the better coach. You're not going to get out coached. You're not going to be able. Literally, Alabama already lost this game. They're not going to do it again. So either way, I don't think this is really going to surprise anybody. I don't think this is going to be an overly exciting game. I would assume by halftime it's over with. Yeah. But either way,
I'll probably end up watching it. I talk a big talk, but I'm sure I'll get bored on Monday night and be like, I'll turn this on. I'm sure. I'll go into the day with the intention of not watching it, but I'm really sitting there going, I have nothing to do. Let me turn this game on.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, so we'll end it with the NHL, NBA, and NCAA basketball news. Got a little topics from here. Winter Classic, -6 degrees at game time. Blues beat the Wild 6-4. I know, Zach, that's right in your wheelhouse. What did you think about that game? Do you really get excited about these Winter Classics every year? Or?
Dude, yeah, probably. Throw me some shade. I don't care. I love these Winter Classics. I put the Blues hat on today to tip the cap to them winning the Winter Classic this year. -6, like you said, at game time, they're predicting it to be -7. I think it was -10 by the end of the game. And it was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was the 4th coldest temperature to start any professional game. And the first 3 were football games. It was the Ice Bowl, some other, every Dallas was in all of them for some reason. It was Dallas versus Green Bay, Dallas versus someone. But then, it was this hockey game was 4th, obviously the coldest hockey game ever, to the point where they had to warm up the ice before the game. Like that's crazy. Like I've never heard of like having to warm up the ice to play. Like,
because isn't that what the Zamboni does? It lays down obviously the heat on top of the ice, melts off that top layer, so it just gives you that
it lays down
nice
water.
crisp ice.
But I think it's like water that's just above freezing. So yeah, it's technically warmer than the ice.
Still will freeze in a nice So either way, but yeah, I mean, and then obviously we saw the old commish come out and talk about what the Olympics, saying that maybe we need to move it to from here on out, or the juniors and the Olympics and stuff like that for the summer, kind of change things up. Which I've seen a lot of people talk about, like they should have done that years and years ago. I mean, did you see all that?
I didn't see all that actually.
You being the hockey guy, like, I mean, are you like? I mean, not to take anything away from the sport,
what did he say about it?
I gotta look it up. You're gonna have to look it up or see if you can find it. But I know he pretty much said that, like, we need to look into making I think actually Ryan McCarthy had retweeted it. Something he said, this is something that I've been talking about for a while. But basically, I'm not prepared here for this one, but I was throwing it out there. I was hoping that you heard about it. But yeah, it was just something about in summer. Or something. These games need to take place during summer. If Ryan must have jumped off.
Olympic hockey has to take place during the summer. Oh yeah, here we go. Batman has requested that ice hockey be Summer Olympics.
Yes,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I understand where he's coming from logically, but hockey's not played during the summer, and it's not naturally a summer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying. But would it be good for hockey? I mean, I guess it'd probably be one of those things that a lot of these players, they probably don't want that wear and tear year round on their body. But you also, I think it really opens up the opportunity for like these juniors, not necessarily junior players, but these other players, these young bucks that probably play more year round to find their skills, to have an opportunity to really make a splash in the Olympics. Because I mean, obviously hockey's so, I mean, granted, USA hockey is the I guess the smaller, I wouldn't say the smaller though. What am I trying to say here, Zach? Because hockey
trying to figure out what you're trying to say.
Czech, so all that stuff, like all the good players. I guess essentially, the Americans are not the good players.
It's
so
like
maybe
soccer.
You bring up the young kids. Yes, absolutely. So it's I guess it's more international, is what I'm trying to say here. Struggling for my words, and I've only had one drink, but yes, I mean, I guess maybe it would open up an opportunity for younger kids and stuff like that to be more of a feature focal point year round. But yeah, I guess it's one of those things too, where probably the veterans, they're not going to want to play the hockey year round. That's when their time, they're not going to worry about that kind of stuff. But either way, keep them with hockey.
I mean, it's a good, like, I'm all for the fuckery that it would cause, right? Because if you've got, like, free agency is in the summer, so if you got guys that are free agents and they happen to be a free agent during the Olympics that are going on that summer, like, you could increase or decrease your
that was just going crazy. Yeah, that was just playing
based on how you play in the Olympics, or you could opt out of the Olympics to save your stock. Like, it would create all kinds of crazy shit. Like, I would be up for that.
And then I know you're gonna love those Kale Makers. Insane goal. I know the old. We got our old producer. She's probably got the old video for this one, doesn't she?
Yeah, we're gonna get it up here on screen. Because this is absolutely nuts. Okay, I'm gonna preface it and say that it's during 3-on-3 hockey, right? So there's more space on ice. But this literally looks like a basketball crossover the way he drops this guy. Let me see if I can get this on the.
But anyways,
I don't know why
why you're getting
decided to walk out on us.
It's probably because you're moving to Tampa. But with that being said. How are your Oilers doing since we've talked?
Dude, not good. I don't think they're in the top. Why am I lagging? Oh, there we go. Now I haven't been in the top since I talked. Yeah, this video is not cooperating.
That's fine. Either way, you got a comment up there by Ryan. He said, we've had the Stanley Cup playoffs in consecutive years, granted under special conditions. Summer games means no midseason interruption and an opportunity to market the NHL globally. That's what I was saying. It gives a better opportunity to market the team, especially globally, like I said, which actually globally, like you alluded to, Zach, America is probably the minority in this sport. Same thing with soccer. We don't recognize it, even though it has fans globally, like most, live and die by it. So yes, different.
So
things,
it's like because summer games means no midseason interruption, right? Okay, so midseason, but that only happens every 4 years when you have the Olympics, and it typically is no big deal. The only reason it is this time is because we have a pandemic, right? Which, like, you're not banking on a pandemic happening all the time. An opportunity to market the NHL globally, I understand, but like back in the day, it used to only be Canadians and Americans. Like hockey has only gotten more global. I think the issue is the game was opened up from America to Europe, right? So they came over and started competing in the NHL. They know all about us. We don't know anything about the European players, and that's where the exposure comes from. That's what I think he's talking about globally. It's because people in America we have no idea who the Swedish or Swiss or, German,
international,
up and coming Russian guys. Yeah, we don't know who they are, So that's what it could open up. I get that.
But yeah, actually, with that being said, then obviously getting out of NHL, we'll get into the final topic here. Both of us, Zach and I, we just come across this stuff in the news. We're not huge basketball guys, but obviously, number 1 Baylor Bears beat number 8 Iowa State on New Year's Day to stay number 1 in NCAA basketball. NCAA basketball, long season. I shouldn't say long season, 30-some game season. Does it really matter if you're number 1 to start the season? Does it really matter if you're number 1 10 games in? Does it really matter even if you're number 1 20 games in the season? I feel like March Madness, I mean, it doesn't matter what your rank going into March Madness because you got 4 number 1 seeds. But really, I feel like that's the only sport where the number 1 seed really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's I don't know why I threw this on a topic list, honestly, because I think I saw this game happening on New Year's, and I was like, we should probably throw some college basketball on the show. But no, you're right. It's definitely number 1. Number 1 matters the least. Being number 1, like being the best team, obviously it matters because you get technically an easier road in the tournament. But the tournament is set up so that literally anyone can win. Sometimes 6 seeds have a stupid easy path to the Final Four. It's such a crapshoot that, being number 1 doesn't matter. But it was cool to see and especially these games getting postponed like every day. Like I think number 5 and number 4 both were supposed to play tonight, and they both got postponed. So it's like you don't get very good games. I guess you're not. I shouldn't say that because you're just not. What's the word I'm looking for? Guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to get good games all the time anymore because games are getting postponed. Yeah. So it was nice to see a cool game on New Year's Day. There's a lot going on New Year's Day.
Yeah, it was nice. Absolutely, it was the sports mecca kind of meets there. So, but
switching from the sunset at the Rose Bowl to the -6 at the Winter Classic was very interesting.
There you go. Absolutely. So, but with that being said, that's what we got. Before I hand it over to you, as far as anything on your roundtable, anything that you really need to sound off on, anything that's just been burning in you, or not so much this week.
Dude, I'm trying to think. I should have wrote it down. I feel like I had a burning topic for the roundtable this week, and I can't remember it. So I feel like
we the past couple shows we've got to this point, and we're like, no, we pretty much covered everything. So,
I know.
But no. With that being said, Antonio Brown, we kicked off the show. We'll end the show there. It's going to be very interesting because, again, we talked about it earlier. CTE is always thrown around with Antonio Brown, especially ever since that Vontae Burfict hit. It seemed like it changed his career, rightfully so. Like, that was crazy. Things went, but every year, there's something going on, and you kind of roll your eyes with the guy. Mm-hmm. Then you see what happened on the sidelines. I feel like this is going to be okay. So then we'll just say this: 30 for 30. That's my burning table. Who's going to be it? Urban Meyer had the first 30 for 30 or Netflix series, or Antonio Brown? Who's going to have it between these two guys? That's TV that I want to see, not because I want to make fun of their life or because I shouldn't say they're light because they're financially more successful than me. But as far as, you don't know what these people have,
Right.
Urban's been through the ringer. Did he do it to himself? Probably for the most part. Same thing with AB, but kind of on the flip side with Antonio Brown, you're looking at the opposite side of things where the finger's been pointed at him. He's always been wrong, where now maybe the tables will turn where he's really gonna put the NFL on notice and say, you're not gonna do this to me. It's not an owners league, coaches league. The players have these rights, which, don't get me wrong, I'm just insinuating. But with some of the tweets and stuff that he's released, it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, it'll be crazy. But
I'm gonna say Antonio Brown gets one before Urban Meyer. And I'll pose a question to you: will we see Antonio Brown in the NFL again?
Nah, I just think at this point I think he's gonna. I think
I'm with you there.
I hate to say this, because the Kaepernick situation is totally different, but I think there's going to be some sort of blackball that it is what it is at this point. It's no more. He's burning those bridges, rightfully so. If a coach told you X, Y, and Z and he's lying about it, he's outing that coach. But on the flip side, it's a business and it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough because it really, I think it doesn't matter how this shakes out. Like, even if Antonio Brown was in the right, let's find out, let's just find out that he was in the majority of the right in this situation. It's still going to stain him. Like, I still don't think that it's hard to say because he's so good. Right. And he still can contribute, I think. So it's tough to say, but I just think that I want to say it's been one too many, but I feel like it was one too many 4 times ago, so you just never know.
2 or 3 times ago. but anyways, that concludes our show tonight. We appreciate you guys jumping in. Feel free weekly, obviously Thursday nights. We try to go at about 9:00 unless I'm having dental surgery. Then it might push it back unless, I'm running out of town. Then we might push it up. There's no consistency with me. I feel bad for Zach. I'm just glad he stands next to me. He's my homie. He's my partner in crime. He's always there for me. He keeps the producer in check. That's what matters. But appreciate you guys joining in tonight. We'll be back next week, hopefully 9 p.m. Either way, we'll let you know. But I know that the producer's been working on some clips, so we'll get those clips edited and stuff like that. Throw those out there. But I appreciate you guys jumping in. On behalf of myself, like I said, always Mike Brown, ZachMac. Appreciate you guys jumping. We'll see you guys all next week.
Join us next week. Find out what shit Mike got into this time.